Alright, so today what I've got is some HTC Vive controllers from a friend. Apparently the haptic feedback isn't actually working on them properly. One of them has no haptic, and then the other one has intermittent haptics and tracking. So as far as I've seen and looked up, haptics is actually controlled by a single motor that's actually built inside of this touchpad. And usually what happens is that the ribbon cable itself internally either gets damaged or it becomes unplugged somehow as you're playing it, moving it around, and yeah, if you're very violent with them, it could easily cause issues. So what I'm going to try is to open these up and have a look and see what could be the problem. So we'll start off with the one that has no haptics. I've never opened up one of these before, so I've got my little toolkit, grab out the screwdriver, and I think that's what I need, and we're going to need some Torx bits. You can see there, so they're probably like a Torx 4, maybe a Torx 5. Take off this sticker, we'll keep that aside for later. So let me start off with a Torx 5. Yep, number 5. So that's that. So if it's screwed from the bottom, it'll be holding the top. Grab a little pry tool. So we got to be careful because each one of these little holes, well, they're not really holes, they're, yeah, we'll call them holes, are where the sensors are. And if they're anything like other devices similar, there's going to be tiny little ribbon cables that run all along those areas. So we just got to be careful not to actually go in too far and tear them. So go in just a little bit, and we'll pop the clip and slowly make our way around. And that cover comes off, right? And you can actually see that where each one of those sensors or holes are, these aren't actually full, like completely filled holes. They're actually sort of see-through. That's for the sensors themselves to be able to see what's happening around in the room. Put this aside. You can see the sensors themselves. Bloody hell, there's quite the array of sensors. You can see what I was talking about. They've got tiny little ribbon cables everywhere, and you don't want to break one of those because you can't really repair them. They'd have tons of little teeny tiny wires running all along it that you just can't fix. I mean, you probably can if you knew what you were doing, but I'm not that good. That's a Phillips now in here. They look to be a 00. So there's 3 of those as well. And that's it for that. So that means the bottom should come off now, somehow. So there are 3 more Torx screws down the bottom here. And 2 more down the bottom here. They all look to be the same size, so it doesn't seem to really matter which order you go placing them back. So we just keep them all together. And then that means the top cover should come off. But if that's on the top and the buttons are there, I am betting that there is a cable attaching it all together. So let's go slowly. Release the clips. And yes, there are. Okay, so how are these all attached? Got one ribbon cable here at the top. Should be able to just slowly pull that out. We've got one cable here in the middle. That's with the haptic feedback and the touchpad. And then we've got one cable at the bottom. I think I can actually already see what the issue is. This ribbon cable's torn. Let me get this last one off, and then that way we can take a proper look at it. So, one last connector down the bottom here. It's got a bit of Capitan tape, and it seems to be a lift style trigger. Yep. And we pull that out. So this we can put aside. We know that the controller works, just the haptic doesn't work. I believe the haptic, the touchpad, possibly, and a speaker might all be joined in one. And that is completely torn. So that's meant to be attached down the bottom there. So there'll be a positive and a negative there. And the pad is actually gone. So let's see if we can get this out. Right, so we got the haptic unit itself out. And we're just going to take a look at it under the microscope and see exactly what we can do to try and see if we can fix it. Alright, so this is the actual unit itself underneath the microscope. The battery is running low on this, so I probably don't have a lot of time. Focus that up. And we can see the extent of the damage. So this cable used to sit like this, and you can see that pad on the positive side has been torn off, and the whole connector itself has been torn off from the negative side. So what we need to try and see, is how the positive side actually connects to this unit itself. So it goes to a tiny little thing right there. Not sure you can see that very well. Let's see if I can hold it closer. Yeah, so you can actually see that. I'm wondering if I can somehow scrape off the coating on that. Alright, that's a fair bit. If I had replacement pads, I'd be able to do that, but I don't normally do this type of work, so I haven't got any replacement pads. But if I can just use a couple strands of copper wire or something, then that should work fine. So what we can do, actually I don't even need to, I just have to make sure that because that pad part isn't broken there. So I can do that. Like this. My fingernails aren't very clean. Okay. I can do it like that. And then I can turn my soldering iron on. I need a little length of cable as well. Tiny bit of flux. And then for this part, I should be able to just heat you up and spread you out to that copper pad. Very hot. You can see that actual where the pad itself is actually coming out from underneath it, that silver part. And I've got this section here. Don't tell me that pad's actually torn too. I hope not. Yeah, it might be. How does that happen? Possibly even smaller than that. tiny little fragments are the ones that will embed themselves into you and be very, very annoying to deal with. Okay, so I probably should have pre-tinned that pad though, because that's where we're going to be connecting this. Just a little bit like that. Over a bit. And then what I'll do at the end is put Capitan tape on this all as well. But just as a proof of concept, I'm going to check that it'll actually work. Alright, so this can now go back into here. Alright, testing haptics, I'll just turn it on. Oh, haptics works. There we go. Yeah, when you turn it on, it does the. So I don't know if it should make a sound, because this one, so the haptics tie into the speaker, the touchpad, and the haptics itself. So if I turn it off, you should be able to hear it. Yep. I'm not sure if you heard that on the microphone. Did you hear that? So it's very quiet, but the haptics is working at the same time as well now, so that's fixed. I'm gonna super glue that down though, because that connector can very easily just like dislodge itself again. And yeah, so that one's fixed. I'm assuming something similar has happened on the other one. It was, the haptics is working at the moment, but there might just be like a small tear or something that's causing it to work intermittently. But once I open it, I'll be able to find out exactly what the go is. But yeah, so there, that's it.